I'm trying to connect it to the I'm trying to connect it to the online.
Okay. As your lordship pleases.
Yeah. So what? No problem. Immediately I connect it on YouTube, I will just give you the host.
Okay. But the class is normal time. Eh?
Yes, class is normal time. Just because that I will not be a chance to be moderating to, so that's why.
No problem. At your service.
No problem. No. So it's already online.
Okay. All right. आपका 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 ले लो ले लो। Lelona Doskile. Hare Krishna. Is Utpalla Prabhu around? Utpalla Prabhu? Haribol, Utpalla Prabhu? Utpalla Prabhu, are you there? Is Utpalla Prabhu there? Unmute yourself and you can start. What? Utpalla Prabhu is there now. Utpalla Prabhu. Utpalla Prabhu, you can unmute yourself now and start.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly. Dandava
Dandava
Pranam.
Pranam.
You can start now. Your time begins now.
Okay. Oh, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Utpalla, please unmute yourself and continue now.
I have already, you had me.
Yes,
No, no, no.
continue. Put on your video. Put on your video also.
Oh, there I am. Now stop. Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamaskote Bhakti Bhagavati Naistikhe Umagyanati Miranda Syajana Jana Shalakaya Chastomale Shri Gurave Namah Sri Cheta Manopi Sanstapita Yena Bhutale Swaya Rupa Dharati Swam Padam Tika Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapati Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namasite Sapta Kanchana Gurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanusite Vipanamani Hare Priya Hare Krishna. Hare, can you still hear me, Prabhu?
Yeah, clearly. Carry on. Fire on.
Fire on. So you are welcome to today's Bhagavatam discourse. Today is an auspicious day, in an auspicious week of an auspicious month. Month of Kartik, week of Bhishma Panchaka. Are we on?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu. So before, okay. So we shall be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 5, text number 10. I read the Sanskrit. There are people here with me. We shall be reading together. Yad, no, na, yad, achas, ita, padam, tad, tad, vayasam, seta, nayatra, hamsa, brahmanti, naya, naya, vata, chitra, padam, hareyaso, naya, vikram, pragrenita, karichit, Tavasyam titam pusanti manasa manti usiksaya. What? Not yet, that, bacha, vocabulary, decorative, array of the light, yasa, glory, universe, avitra, sanctified, pragmita, describe, achieve, gladly, start, that, by some growth, some place of pilgrimage, Istanti, think, manasa, not, yatra, where, namsa, all perfect being, Yamanti, take pleasure, those who reside in the transcendental translation of divine grace lies.
Yeah.
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure therein. Repeat responsively. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Purport by his Prabhupada, listen attentively. Crows and swans are not birds of the same feather because of their different mental attitudes. The fruitive workers or passionate men are compared to the crows, whereas the all perfect saintly persons are compared to the swans. The crows take pleasure in a place where garbage is thrown out, just as the passionate fruity workers take pleasure in wine, and women, and places for gross sense pleasure. The swans do not take pleasure in the places where crows are assembled for conferences and meetings. They are instead seen in the atmosphere of natural scenic beauty, where there are transparent reservoirs of water nicely decorated with stems of lotus flowers in variegated colors of natural beauty. That is the difference between the two classes of birds. Nature has influenced different species of life with different mentalities, and it is possible to bring them up into the same rank and file. Similarly, there are different kinds of literature for different types of men of different mentality. Mostly the market literature which attract men of the cross category are literatures containing confused remnant of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relation with the gross body and subtle body. They are full of subject matter described in decorative language, full of mundane similes and metaphorical arrangements. Yet with all that, they do not glorify the Lord. Such poetry and prose on any subject matter is considered decorations of a dead body. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literatures, which are sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. These literatures, in the mode of passion and ignorance, are distributed under different labels, but they can hardly help the spiritual urge of the human being, And thus, the swan-like spiritually advanced men have nothing to do with them. Such spiritually advanced men are called also Manasa because they always keep up the standard of transcendental voluntary service to the Lord on the spiritual plane. This completely forbids fruitive activities for gross bodily sense satisfaction or subtle speculation of the material egoistic mind. Social literary men, scientists, mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians are completely absorbed in the material advancement of sense pleasure, are all doors of the material poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians who are completely absorbed in the material advancement of the sense pleasure are all doors of the material energy. They take pleasure in a place where rejected subject matters are thrown. According to Swami Sridhara, this is the pleasure of the prostitute hunters. But literatures which describe the glories of the Lord are enjoyed by the Paramahamsas who have grasped the essence of human activities. Mao Vishnu Pada Krishna Pita Bhutara Simante Bhati Samitina Namaste Krishna Pada Prabhupada Satmani Sri Guru Karma Sakati Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Pita Pita Srimati Devaki Vedanta Pasmati Namo. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru and Sasarin Devi Sesas Punjava Satya Satari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Guru Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna. I want to thank the Assembly of Devotees for this opportunity to speak, to read text of Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada's purport. I'm not qualified, but by devotees' mercy, by Vaishnava's mercy, I've been given this opportunity to purify myself by reading. So before going on, I would like to appreciate specific devotees in particular, but of course in general I appreciate all the devotees. But some people have been directly connected or directly part of my being here today, being in devotional, trying to be a devotee. First among them is former Vasudev Prabhu, now His Holiness Bhakti Vasudev Swami. When I joined the Hare Krishna movement, October 1988, he was my temple president, and he gave me all the support, all the necessary encouragement to be a devotee. So I thank him very much. Of course, there was a late Haridam who was our temple commander then, and then he actually like almost forced me to go and carry my load because I just kept coming to the temple. I one day he said, you should go and bring your load and come and stay. So I keep postponing. Then one day he said, let's go, I will accompany you to go. I said, don't worry, I will go and bring my things by myself. And I did like that. I came in. So I appreciate him posthumously, you know. Then His Holiness Bhakti Damodara, he was parish then. Then he was in a shop in Lagos. So as soon as I came into the temple, one bhakta was enthusiastically carrying me to all the leaders, you know, introducing me, you know. So when I went to the shop, he introduced me to His Holiness Bhakti Damodara, and then I asked the question. I said that I want to really test what is spiritual life. I want to experience what is spiritual life. I don't want to be engaged in material activities again and so on and so forth. So he told me, you can still do material things. You can still do the two together. That was the language he used. So because me, I was interested in the spiritual aspect, so I was like, say, what is he talking? So when I insisted that I don't want anything, so he firstly told me that yes, you can do the two together. You can still do the two together. So I was almost angry. So I went back to His Holiness Bhakti Vasudev and said, why this that person? I was just a new person. Why is that Oga treating me, you know, not not soft with me? Bhakti Vasudev is usually where he laughed and said, well, don't worry, that is the nature. It doesn't mean that. So I was also taken to Prabhu Ankara said, give me some advice. Then my own Gurudev, His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami. I really am grateful to him for when joined his activities, his way of life, his love, everything about him just made me to say, yes, this is where I really want to belong. One day, after my first initiation, 1990, one day we watched the television where this Swami was giving lecture in one of the television houses in the east, in Enugu. So it was a panel discussion, and people were talking, Christians, Muslims, Hindus, everybody. So one man, because of the way B.T. Swami was, carrying the day, one religious leader got very angry and said, sit on the same chair like every other person, because that time we used to go to TV house with Vyasa-san, and Gurudev, we sit majestically, and the devotees. So people become sometimes envious. But because of what he's delivering, people always appreciate that. So the man was, very, very rude and insultive, and everybody was just looking tense. And then after all his after all his talks, then the moderator now turned to his Holiness B.T. Swami and said, what's your response? So naturally, everybody was thinking he would burst out in a very big tornado, those kind of anger. Well, he just turned to the man and smiled, So everybody became less tense. He smiled and said that this is not a forum for personal antagonism, for attack, personal attack. He should not take it. He actually advised the man that to the extent the man became humble by force. So that touched me. I said, I've never seen where they insult somebody this way. And he just smiled. So I went up, after the class, I went to write a small letter in a piece of paper. And then I went to submit in his room upstairs. So I expressed my appreciation, and I said that, please, I beg you that I beg to become your disciple. I want to be your disciple. Because of how I felt during that program, when I was watching his reaction, I even forgot that I had already been initiated just a few weeks back. I forgot that I had already been initiated by him. I was asking to initiate me. So that really encouraged me a lot. And of course, later on, so many other things and so on and so forth. So my obeisance is to my Guru Maharaj, my appreciation. Then of course, His Holiness Kavichandra Swami, when he came to Nigeria in 1991, he had always been fatherly and encouraging, and personally to me, giving me some gifts. Even I was so that time he has not started making initiating devotees. He had not started initiating devotees, so I was just like his disciple, and then of course I'm still his disciple. But we are very close, so he would give me tape recorders to record lectures and so on and so forth. So many things I cannot count. Even when I was in India, some few years back, I was there. I did not know he was, assisting my family back home. So such encouragement is very, very commendable. So I appreciate them. And of course, His Divine Grace, like A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who made this chanting of the Holy Name, his Krishna consciousness, who facilitated its being in this part of the world. So, who, by his mercy, I'm now struggling to be a devotee. I'm so grateful. for him. So, of course, to all the Vaishnavas, for giving me the opportunity to come and purify myself, even though I am not qualified. I say thank you all very much. So, this is part of my class. So I won't talk much here. We'll just read, I won't talk much. I'm sorry the place has closed. So the thing is that, the main thing is that there is a comparison here between positive literatures and negative literatures. In Canto 12 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also mentioned the attributes of the importance of transcendental literatures. What are transcendental literatures? Transcendental literatures are documented transcendental knowledge. So in the past, we are told that knowledge was given orally. Knowledge was given orally. So, and it has been coming from Brahma, from Krishna, of course, when Brahma was on the lotus flower. So, Krishna gave knowledge to him, to Brahma. Then Brahma gave to Vyasadeva, the disciple of Vyasadeva, to Sukadeva, and it has been coming from the disciple succession, like Krishna said in the Gita, Ivam Param Param Imam Rajas we do. So it has been coming like that, and later on, it said that Krishna explained that it appeared that the knowledge was broken, the chain was broken, so Krishna had to speak again 5,000 years ago to Arjuna. But what we are concerned with here is the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is described as the supreme Purana. So we have been hearing from very wonderful speakers explaining how Vyasadeva divided the Vedas into four, But after doing all the literary work at that time, he was like not satisfied. So Narada Muni came around and said, are you satisfied with what you have done? Are you satisfied with what you have done? That you have done a very wonderful work, but all you have done is to encourage people to gratify their senses. That's all you have done. So if you did not write, if you have not written, or if you fail to write about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the dealings with his devotees, so you have not done something wonderful. So what did he do? He did not argue. Vyasadeva did not argue. He just said, well, you are right. That's how guru-disciple relationship should be. Because guru is representative of Krishna, and is said to be the external manifestation of the super soul. He said, you are right. So now can you tell me what I should do? So now, he extolled. He said that any picture which does not lead us to understanding God, our relationship with Him, our prime duty in this material world, that they are just useless literatures, and Prabhupada mentioned it here, that very philosophers, scientists, theoreticians, and so on and so forth, they are just busy writing heaps of things that does not solve man's spiritual problem or spiritual needs. From verse Dave, to be submissive. To get knowledge, spiritual knowledge, we must be submissive. So we should try to learn the truth by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Render service to him, serve him properly, and then that self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto us because they have seen the truth. So the origin of transcendental literatures, the Krishna himself. The purpose of transcendental literatures is that such literatures describe the mystery of the supreme absolute truth, the source of all creation and annihilation of this universe. Also present a knowledge of him, together with the process of its cultivation and the transcendental realization one can achieve. So that is that in Canto 12, text number 3, is mentioned also Atra Sankitata Saksat Sava Papa Arohari Narayano Rishikesho Bhagavan Sadvatam Pati. This literature fully glorifies the supreme personality of Godhead, Hari, who removes all his devotees' sinful reactions. The Lord is glorified as Narayan, Rishikesh, and the Lord of the Sadvatas. So that is, in fact, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be overemphasized. It's just too much. So we have to be prayerful. We have to try as much as we can to be in environments where these transcendental literatures are recited, where we can hear it. Because as we all know, this material world is void. This material world, there is nothing inside it. Every day we are asking question, but we're not getting proper answers. Only tonight, everybody is asking questions. All the beings, animals, everybody, birds, the birds, they're asking where is food. Sense gratification. I'm hearing some noise there from me. Hare Krishna, are you hearing me? Hello? It seems they have not been hearing. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I see Kavi there.
You are being heard,
Hello?
Prabhu. Carry on. Fire on.
Yeah.
You are being heard.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I was saying
You
that
are audible.
asking questions. Okay, Prabhu, thank you very much. I was saying that everybody is asking questions. You know, the birds, the human beings, the animals. Some are asking, where is food, where is shelter, where is sex life, and so on and so forth. Where is protection for me? But proper human beings ask salient questions, ask higher questions. That is the difference between human beings and the lower species. The human being is asking questions about the self, about the absolute truth. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? Where shall I go from this place? And what is the goal of human life? So that is what distinguishes us from the lower species. So just like Maharaj Parishit was asking, he said, please, Sukadeva, can you tell me the duties of somebody who is about to die, who is about to leave this world? Actually, that question is not just for him alone. It's for every human being. It's for every human being. Because practically everybody is about to die. Why so? Because nobody knows actually when he's going to leave this material world. So we should also be in that frame of mind. What should we be doing? What should we be hearing? What should we be talking about? And so on and so forth. Recently, there was some write-up that some university, one of the universities, topmost universities in the world, they have a department that is teaching about happiness, how people can be happy in this world. But unfortunately, they teach people to source for happiness from mundane platform, which is not possible. It's not possible to get real happiness on the mundane platform, because whatever happiness we are getting from the material source, they are all temporary. So you are happy today, the next minute you are sad. By any means, by any material means you're using to source for happiness, it will never last. So the only source of happiness is spiritual life, Krishna consciousness, transcendental literatures like this, and of course, above all, chanting of the holy name of the Lord is proven, is read in all these all the Puranas, especially the Bhagavata Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's explained the benefits of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra cannot be overemphasized. Apart from keeping us closer to Krishna, giving us knowledge, purifying ourselves, and so many other things. In the end, if somebody is able to remember Krishna at the time of death, Krishna says he goes back to him. So we should be in the mood of, we should take advantage of this Hare Krishna movement, this Krishna consciousness, and learn and chant. So 500 years ago, this was introduced, inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he made it clear that in this age, the best means of self-realization is the glorification of the Lord, chanting of the holy name. As he said, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevala, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gati Anyanta. In this iron age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no other way of becoming successful or attaining self-realization other than by chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Emphasize 3 times, showing the importance of this chanting. And from the scriptures, from their chariots, from the saddles, we have seen that it's an irrevocable fact. It's a fact. It's a, you know. So normally in the mundane world, when one philosopher propounds theory, the next thing his disciple comes and then, you know, propounds another one to counter him, and then he becomes a big scholar. But this transcendental literature, this holy name, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said 500 days, it remains the same thing. And in chanting, every day you chant, every other day you chant, it never becomes hackneyed. It remains fresh because it's Krishna. Krishna dancing on the tongue, they say. Songs, if a musician, for instance, in Nigeria today, I was telling somebody, we were discussing with somebody, I was saying, this is one of the super reggae musicians in Nigeria in the past. Do you know him? He said, no, I don't know him. And this is somebody of maybe almost 40 years. So he doesn't know anything about him. And his songs, nobody knows about. Some of the raining songs, some of the songs that were released even in just these 80s, by even world pop stars and so on and so forth. People forget them. They need new one. So that's why people keep churning out different kinds of mundane. But the Maha Mantra remains fresh eternally, because it's coming from supreme absolute source. The Maha Mantra is Krishna himself. So it remains fresh. Again, the difference between the name and other kinds of sounds is that mundane sounds may not yield intended results. If I was thirsty now and I said, oh, I will not drink water, I will just chant water and get satisfied. It's not possible. If I chant water till forever, I remain thirsty. But the holy name is not different from Krishna. You chant, you get Krishna. So we should all try as much as we can to always think of Krishna, and the only way we can always think of Krishna is by calling on his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Once again, I thank everyone for patiently sitting and then listening, even though I don't know what to say. I always like not to give class. I always try to dodge. Even this time they say, I say, no, I don't know what to say. Our leaders say you should give, so service I have to do. I learned not to be refusing service some years back. When I was just made a temple president newly by Guru Dev, His Holiness Bhakta Swami, we were in New York, in Nigeria, in Akwa Ibom State. So he came, just not quite long that I went there, he came on a visit. So when he came, we were so busy. I was so busy, like as the temple president, arranging programs, doing this, practically all day long. And then one day, out of tiredness, I dozed off in class. He was giving Bhagavatam class, and then I dozed off. Then he said, Utpalla, I looked up. So then he lightly chastised me that, it's Maya, if I should, somebody should be dozing off when class is going on. So out of false ego, because I was just a new devotee, I was made temple president just not too long, I became a devotee. So out of force ego, after the class, I raised my hand. He said, yes, Utpalla. I said, Guru Maharaj, Guru Dev, if somebody feels himself not qualified to be a devotee, to be a temple president, can he resign? I was waiting to hear, you know, I was waiting anxiously. He said, he didn't say, no, don't resign. I want you to be temple president. He didn't say that. He said, yes, he can resign. Yes, why not? He can resign. But only cowards do. So, so I learned my lesson. I never, you know, tried to. Actually, that was the second time I was refusing service. When I just joined also, after my first initiation, His Grace, His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva was temple president. And then he said, we want you to be commander. We want you to be commander of Lagos Temple. So I said, no, that I didn't come to this movement to look for positions. Please, I just want to be serving. He said, no, you have to be the commander. We dragged and dragged and dragged. In the end, he allowed me to be. I did not be the commander. So that was my first refusal of service. And then the second one, I wanted to do that. They chastised, you know, kind of lightly chastised me. So I never did that again. I hope we have time. Yeah, I think we should stop so that there will be time for questions. Hare Krishna. Dandava Pranam to all of you.
Dandava Pranam, Utpalla Prabhuji. Thank you very much for this class. You rightly exonerated yourself by accepting that you are doing it as service. And like English adage says, practice makes perfect. Continue to hide on that I'm not qualified. It will never happen. So I like to congratulate you. The question you have is coming from Kavi Kanapur, Prabhu.
Okay.
Kavi Kanapur, Prabhu, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, sorry, my background is very noisy, but I'd like to ask a question.
Carry on.
Thank you very much for the wonderful class, Prabhu Utpalla. And first of all, before I ask my question, I would like to appreciate you and thank you. You know, you are one of those devotees that your humility is always touching heart, you know, which is purifying, you know. So we learn from you how to be humble, you know. And I really appreciate your lecture. You're always giving pastimes of Bhattita Swami Maharaj. So this is purifying, you know, and it shows how you're always thinking of your guru. So we thank you for that. So Prabhu, my question is, in the course of your lecture, you talk about when you were talking the story of Bhattita Maharaj and how it touched your heart when he was giving lecture. Somebody tried to be personal with him, insult him, but the way he reacted, and that really touched your heart. So, and you know, the way Maharaj show, you know, humility and that things. So my question is that sometimes we know these materialistic people, they can be very attacking and challenging like this. So which way can we treat them? Is it always good to treat them the way Maharaj treat them, or sometimes also you just have to, you know, give them fire to fire?
First, that's your comment about me being this and that. You know, it's like.
Prabhu, please don't comment about yourself. I've already asked my question. You are who you are, and we all know you. Thank you.
The best way to kill somebody is to flatter him. You are something. You are that. You are that. So I think it's not necessary as such. Well, two wrongs cannot make a right. As regards to your question, Prabhu, are you hearing me?
Hearing you.
Hello. Yeah, two wrongs cannot make a right, they say. It depends on what you are, who you are. If you are a mundane person, automatically there is no way you will not react and give fire for fire. But if you're a spiritual person, somebody who is actually a Krishna conscious person, a real Krishna conscious person, so you will tolerate. You tolerate. We have seen it, even like in Buddhism. I earlier said, we've seen it. No matter how you provoke, no matter what you do, you just smiles, and that in turn melts your heart, changes you, even if you are a demon. If somebody is a demon, do you know that in the age there was a time people were practically against BT Swami being in Nigeria? There was a lot of accusations, there was a lot of problem that one day Bhakti Swarup Prabhu had to take BT Swami away from Nigeria at night by road. Some people wrote letters to all the Nigerian embassies around the world that BT Swami should not be allowed to come to Nigeria. He's this, he's that, he's that. He did not answer fire with fire. He came back, he's still coming back. And then in the end, we all know what's happened later on. Most of those people who did those things, they are not around again. So a Krishna conscious person has to extend love. So love is the strongest weapon to win any even war. So if you acted wrongly, fire for fire, what will happen? There will be like an explosion. Problem will not be solved. B.T. Swami said in one of his 4 principles for community building that whenever there is a problem, we should all see ourselves as the cause of the problem. And if you saw yourself as the cause of the problem, you'll be sorry. You will say sorry to the other person, and the other person may say sorry to you. So it depends on who you are, Prabhu. It depends on what you represent. If you go outside there and somebody, maybe you are in Sankirtan, we see this every time. We get harassed every time in Sankirtan. And then what happens? We still go, and eventually sometimes we make friends. Only there is no time. I would have told you the story of what happened at the international airport once when we were preaching, But shortly, I can briefly can cut it short. So we were preaching at the international airport, and then one man told me, don't preach to these people, And I didn't know he was a major in the army. He said, don't preach to these people. I said, what do you mean? Is it you who will tell me who to preach to and who not to preach to? I'll preach. This was an Africana restaurant upstairs, Mohammed Airport. So he insisted I should not preach. I insisted I must preach in the night. So I gave those people books. They must have been bigger officers, maybe generals. I gave them who we were discussing. Then later he said, come. I thought he wanted to buy my book also. So as we stepped aside, the first security man he saw, he said, take him to Tango City. I thought that Tango City is a big place where I will go and preach to many people. Tango City was a police station downstairs. So they locked me up there. But you know what happened? From this incident, when I became we didn't become inimical. Instead, we preached to the man, this man who said they should lock myself, and the Dasara was there also. They later brought him to join me. So we later became friends, and we could walk to the commandant's office at will. We go anywhere we like at the airport. So if we had said, this man locked us up, he did this, we won't get that chance. And then from that, anytime this one is coming, we could go almost to the whole straight with Gallant and go and Gallant him down, carry his bags. People are not allowed to enter there if you're not a traveler. But because of that incident, so tolerance is very, very Important. Haridas Thakur was flogged, 21 marketplaces. You don't go fighting. Huh? So it depends on what you're representing. Maybe if you're representing a mundane society, you can be fighting that way. Huh? But if you're representing a spiritual organization, whatever we do is preaching. If everybody is spitting in a place and you go and spit there, people will say, hey, look at where Hare Krishna man is spitting. If people are winning somewhere, you go and do, they will say, look at what Hare Krishna. So we are like white cloth. So any little stain will be seen, everybody will see it. So that's why we don't have to behave like them. That's why we are different from them. Whatever we do is preaching. Even the way you talk is preaching. So many experiences we have, So that is it, probably. So in the course of Sankirtan, anyway, that reminds me of Sankirtan. Sankirtan Marathon is coming on from the 1st of December, and I hope that we try as much as we can. Prabhupada said we should distribute his books, that these books are his blood, they are his life, they give him life. And the only way we can appreciate him, the only way we can, assist, and carry on this movement is by trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada books as much as we can. There are time bombs, he said. One book we give to somebody can bring even another person who is not the person you give to, can bring him. One day I met somebody at the airport, an Indian man, and he said, can you come to my office inside Lagos? I went to his office inside Lagos. So he said, I want to be a life member of ISKCON. Of course, he told me this at the airport. So when I went, he actually registered, and then he brought out Prabhupada Lilamrita, that small book. He brought it out and said, I read member. Then I met one Muslim man in just some time back. He showed me the same book. He said, as far as he's concerned, so we should try as much as we can, sensitize ourselves, encourage people in our temples to participate in the marathon. They said there is going to be prize giving and so on and so forth internationally. But that should not be the goal, the purpose, the aim of doing that. We should do it in the mode of trying to assist Prabhupada in this mission, because this world, the only hope for this world is spiritual information, spiritual knowledge, spiritual consciousness, this Hare Krishna movement. So Prabhupada built a house in which the whole world can live. If people were willing, to live in this house, there'll be no problem. So, but presently everybody is saying my religion, my this, my that, my that. Whereas all these things are temporary designations, because there is no Christian soul, Muslim soul, Hindu soul, Buddhist soul, Zoroastrian soul. All of us are one. That's how Prabhupada was seeing everybody. We can live in one house. Soul is soul, not Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist souls. So that is it, problem. So we don't believe in that tit for tat. Even people, some scriptures said, no religious person, no purely religious person has approved of that. So like in the Christian Bible, they say if they slap you one ear, turn, and then somebody was asked how long. It says seven times, 70 times, how many? So that is Prabhu. Are we in order? Are you following? Did you hear me, Prabhu?
Thank you very much.
No,
Prabhu, did you hear him?
Yep. Prabhu, I heard you loud and clear. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
All right.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So the next question is coming from Prabhu Sahadeva Prabhu. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm not hearing you yet.
Thank you very much for speaking.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
I was a little bit taken aback from what you said in your introduction, because you were saying that you are not qualified to lecture.
Yes, Prof.
That's why I'm asking this question, to hopefully get my doubts clarified. All along, I thought that speaking Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or any of the divine books Srila Prabhupada has given us, it's just a service. It's not a matter of showing or proving to anybody how good you are or how knowledgeable you are, but you're just sharing your realizations and experience and knowledge. I mean, we are not supposed to compare ourselves to anybody, but between me and you, if you are not qualified, then I shouldn't speak the Bhagavatam. And I've been speaking the Bhagavatam. And I know others have been speaking the Bhagavatam. And I know there are other junior devotees looking up to you. And if you say you are not qualified, then when would such devotees be qualified to speak? So my question is, what is the qualification to speak in the Bhagavatam? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It's a very nice question. Prabhu, I don't exactly know the qualification. I don't know 100% the qualification to speak Bhagavatam, but I know that the Bhagavatam itself mentioned a few things. Somebody should be free from vices and so on and so forth. You know, and I know I'm still struggling to control my senses, to even chant my rounds. You know, Bhagavatam is referred to Supreme Purana. You know, so anyway, the fact that people like us are speaking is a sign. It's a sign that Vaishnavas are very merciful. They are very merciful. So I think this is having made reference to this once, that if they ask you to do something, even if you cannot do it, even if you feel, just do it because they ask you to do it. So in the third stanza of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shishastak, I said, Trinada peace, what is it? Trinada peace, yeah. So one should chant the holy name of the Lord with the mind, you know, considering oneself rather than destroying the street. And one should be tolerant as a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. In such a state of mind, one can chant. So you see, humility is emphasized here in a humble state of mind. So it's somebody who wants to talk to others, who wants to train others, teach others, especially spiritual subject matter in Krishna consciousness. You know, there must be that evidence of pure humility. You know, so somebody must equally be knowledgeable, you know, in the scriptures, to actually speak the scriptures. I was just listening to the whole of 12 canto, you know, audio, you know, I was really touched by the description of the transcendental literatures. You know, you read there, you go there, you read, you see. So even though I listened to, I could not even speak one thing from what I've been listening to. You understand? So before I came to this class, you know, I was busy struggling, trying to make preparation. I will have to read this, read it. But believe you me, all those preparations, all those things I was writing down this and that, I could not even remember anything. I could not even talk about them. So from the scriptures. So somebody must be knowledgeable also in my, just like the authors, the other day, one day, rest. So when Sutta Goswami was going to speak, so the sages, they said, you are qualified. You are a qualified person. So describe, talk to us, recite, talk about the glories of God. So I don't have much knowledge of Krishna. I'm still learning. So that's why I say I'm not qualified. To your question, who is qualified? I don't actually know, except we have to research that more, from the scriptures. Prabhu? Forgive me if I did not.
No. Thank you. You answered my question. At least everybody will understand that we are all encouraged to speak. That as devotees, we should be humble. That we do not deserve to speak, but we're given the opportunity to speak. So I understand. My other question, I don't know if I may ask the moderator if
can we share, Prabhu? Let's
come back to you. That's what I'm asking. If somebody else can ask, then I'll ask later.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Right.
So, Prabhu Kevin, your name is still showing as Krishna Sevika. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Well, as long as my name doesn't show up as a Dasi, I'm happy. I just appreciate Kavi Karnapuru's comment, because he triggered within Utpalla Prabhu a desire to say something about book distribution. And I'm here in Vrindavan. Prabodhananda Saraswati Maharaj gave class this morning, and a good percentage of the class time was taken up discussing the marathon, inspiring devotees to take up the distribution of Prabhupada's books. I'm just wondering, I've never been to West Africa. I've done some book distribution in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda. But I'm just wondering if West Africa has some elements of opposition that may not be found in other parts of Africa, and how, or book distribution of previous years must have given Sankirtan devotees some idea as to what needs to be changed to expand and increase book distribution. So I wonder if there are any realizations that have developed in previous years that would help with the promotion of Prabhupada's books in this year's marathon. And, I hope to, Chardesh Maharaj just returned to Ivory Coast a couple of days ago, and he's going to send me a letter of invitation to come to Ivory Coast. And I'm really looking forward to coming there if Krishna allows it. And I'm just wondering, what you all feel as seasoned book distributors, senior devotees, what you all feel would be very helpful as far as expanding of distributing Prabhupada's books in West Africa is concerned. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. It's a very good question and observation as well. I think, are you hearing me, Prabhu? There is no strong opposition apart from those little, like I said, I was locked up for 1 week, and sometimes you get some slap and so on and so forth, but it's not every time. One time I was distributing book in Central Lagos, and I was just wearing my dhoti. This will equally add to answer partly to what Kavi asked earlier on. I was distributing book, and one boy came where they are selling jewelries and say that better accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Come, are we
Your network is not stable.
are we
I think Prabhu network has tried today. See now.
kind of send the demon away from you. And then he went to bring, they are selling spiritual materials, that is those religious things. So he just went and bring. And so I said that what he was saying that he was going to buy the spirit. You are hearing me.
Your network is not stable, and so you are not very audible. It's breaking. Okay, Prabhu Pala, is there anything you want to do about it? Let us hold on a while if it will adjust. Opala, there's a suggestion you may turn off your camera now. We have seen you, so we are not doubting your person. Turn off your camera, maybe to improve your signal. Do you hear me? Yeah, it seems not to be available now.
Is he about? Is on mute? Is not? Yeah, he's not unmuting himself. Upala Babu, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You can turn off your video for now, maybe to improve the.
Okay, Prabhu. So to
turn
quickly
off
go
your
to
video. Turn off your video. It may help.
It was already off before.
All right. So we are hearing you now.
Okay. So I was telling Kevin Prabhu, Krishna Sevika, yeah, because I was going to ask him before answering his question, has he eventually accepted that name, Krishna Sevika? So I would like to continue calling him Dr. Kevin. So anyway, so I would like to call you, because Krishna wants you to have that name. That's why it's coming, it refuses to go from your phone. I think so. Okay?
Okay. I accept your word.
Thank you very much. So
Okay.
there is no position whatsoever. So Nigeria is one of the best places to preach because people don't fight with you, people don't chase you away, people don't insult you on the way. You know, many people, they even like to see Hare Krishna people. So the only challenge we have in now is manpower, kind of manpower, and because we're not, people are not, there are so many Sankit devotees as in the past, so that's the only problem. But those who want to distribute, they can go out and distribute. very enlightened people who like to read book. You know, even up to now, sometimes you go out, you know, and people just notice that you are a Hare Krishna by your name or something. They just say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Actually, people like Krishna consciousness follow. So that's why many people are, it's time. So they were at least listening to. So it's okay. So as per encouraging ourselves, others. So many people are there who would like to, to do Sankirtan. Please remind me of the last part of your question. Not the Ivory Coast aspect.
Oh,
You said.
No, I think what I was asking was, have the Sankirtan devotees of West Africa learned any lessons from previous years? And
yes, you were talking about realizations and what could be done. Yes, so many realizations and what could be done. The first thing that could be done is if we can have something like a regular party going around preaching, that would be nice. Because in the past, we used to be up to 10, 20, 30 devotees going in twos. Maybe 2 female devotees, 2 male devotees, they go to one area, they preach, and then, But these days, people are not that many. So this is affecting the Sankirtan preaching in West Africa. And then another thing I'm thinking is that if there was like exchange of devotees, so who are completely new to an environment, who are daring, so that also can help. For instance, 1998, I was in Ghana, and we were going out on Sankirtan in group with a bus, and Varaha Prabhu used to be the Sankirtan leader then. So we moved in group in that way. And me, I don't know anything, anybody, I don't care about it. I was not care about. So I was enthusiastically, preaching. So if there could be some kind of exchanges of devotees, that's why sometimes I ask on this forum, why, if it were possible to get somebody, maybe somebody like you, somebody like other people, they go to different environments and preach just like you preached in Uganda, Kenya, you didn't stay in one place. So if it were possible here also, that would be very wonderful also, So sometimes I even feel that like the missionaries the Christian missionaries. So they send people to different places and then give them an assignment, do this, because once somebody's there, monotonous, somebody gets, everything becomes boring, you get to the optimal point, and then you get diminishing returns. Like now, no much enthusiasm again, and so on and so forth. So, but if somebody should move to a different environment, enthusiasm could be kindled. It's a new. When you leave one place to the other, there is tendency you go with new ideas, new kind of thinking. You change the environment. So that's why I sometimes feel maybe if it were like that, that would be good. But if we remain the same way, the same people, the same place continuously, monotony setting, and so on and so forth. So those are the things I think we can do. As per realizations, I think it has been very wonderful. People, there is no better devotional service like preaching. And of course, Krishna said in the Gita that nobody is as dear to him as somebody who, distributes his glories. Maybe we can, okay, Radharani and the gopis, yeah, we know they are very dear to Krishna, but Sankirtan devotee is very, very dear to Krishna, maybe not as dear to Krishna as to wanting to dust from somebody's lotus feet on Krishna's head so that his headache will go. Not that way, So Radharani and the gopis, they become the topmost people, lovers of Krishna, because they were the only people who agreed to place the dust from their lotus feet on Krishna's head to cure his headache. So that is the Prabhu. So devotees, Sankirtan devotees. I remember 2012, the same year we met in Kenya. So we were doing Sankirtan, and I really loved it. Every other day I would do Sankirtan, touring the South India. We distribute. Sometimes we buy, His great Chaitanya also. I was doing that with Grace Chaitanya Prabhu. We kept preaching until we went around the whole places and so on and so forth. And one day I was preaching, I was standing on the platform to the entrance of Delhi Temple, Delhi. So I was just there, she stopped. I stopped her. I said, this Hare Krishna will take this small group, and then make a little donation. She said, no, I'm not going to give you a small donation. I will give you big donation. I said, yeah, really big donation? He said, yes. I said, okay, why? He said, you are BT Swami disciple. Wow, I said, wonderful. I said, how did you donation for one small book? So many, if we can really, if Krishna can, that's why we have these books here, and so many temples they have not come to collect. Only few temples have collected, from Lagos, but there is still much remaining. So we keep, even though we remind them sometimes. So we appeal to them to come and pick this, to come and take the books before the marathon. So His Holiness Kavichanda Swami, for people to bring back someone, he said he sees the book lying, not distributed, he will get angry and maybe use his hand and be sharing to whoever was in the temple. He said, distribute it, give it to people, then you will also get more books will come. It's not unlike before. In the past, we would go, we distribute to actually make money to support the temple and so on and so forth. But now he says, just give it out. They are like time bombs. One day somebody, there is a case where I was thinking, I don't know, somebody who came to the temple and actually became a devotee, a doctor, a medical doctor. Where did he get the book from? He got it from a Bukate, where people, an environment, an area where people just go in the evenings for sense gratification. Somebody else bought the book and dropped it there, and then this doctor, he saw it, he read it, and he came to the temple and he became a devotee.
Wow.
So we should be prayerful to Krishna, Prabhupada, to empower us, to give us this, to give us the enthusiasm, to revive our enthusiasm that was there, so that we can go out and preach and distribute the books. You know.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
So that is it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
Prabhu.
much.
Thank you, Utpalla Prabhu. Thank you.
Oh,
Your line is not very stable, and we have the last question from
Are you hearing me?
Sahadeva Prabhu. Yeah, it's shaking, breaking, but we'll have to attend to the last question from Sahadeva Prabhu. Sahadeva Prabhu, you can unmute yourself and ask your last question, please.
Okay, Hare Krishna. My other question is about the text itself, because the text says any book that does not speak about the glories of Lord Krishna is book for the crows. And I mean, we are able to communicate on this platform because we all went to school and learned how to read and write. And these books never talked about Krishna. But this same books meant for crows is enabling us to discuss Krishna on this platform and everywhere else. So what do we say to people who are becoming devotees and also having secular education? Do we discourage them? Do we encourage them? And if they read this, what do we say to them? That's my question. Thank you. Did you get my answer? Question, please.
Utpalla Prabhu there in the first place.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying that Srila Prabhupada was asked this kind of question about, why a spiritual person you should use, or are you using a big car, this and that? I think it was in the US. So he explained that material thing, we can use it. Even golden car, it's not bad to use it to serve Krishna. So if whatever knowledge we have acquired just does not help us in becoming Krishna conscious, I think it's a very big problem. Because we are not by virtue true. So we are not to discourage people. I think it's mentioned in one of the scriptures, that this knowledge should be cultivated side by side. Okay, like we have the Gurukula, for instance. You are acquiring material knowledge and at the same time you are acquiring spiritual knowledge. So if our education helps us to, in the end, understand spiritual things and pursue spiritual things and become devotees of God, I think it is not bad. But if our education just in the end, just if we become gross materialistic people who have no knowledge of God, then that education is not worth it. Because like Prabhupada used to say that the problem of birth, death, old age, and disease, all these theories in the world, they are not able to solve those problems. All the philosophies right from time immemorial. So that is it, Prabhu. We are not to discourage people, but I think while people are acquiring material education, they should equally be made to understand spiritual things so that in the end, they may use that their education to pursue Krishna consciousness, to pursue God consciousness. Because the fact that people are ignorant of spiritual subject matters, that's why there is so much problem in the world today. Everywhere you turn to, there is no peace anywhere in the world. So because people have just gotten material knowledge, material information, no knowledge of the self, no knowledge of God, no knowledge of the relationship between man and God. So actually, I think some part of the scripture describe those things as avidya, So that is it, Prabhu. Did you hear me? Sahadeva, Prabhu.
Sahadeva put a message on the chat that is at work and may not be able to talk back, but he's hearing you.
Oh, very good. Okay. Okay, Prabhu.
All right. So, being that as it may, we thank you very much, Utpalla Prabhu. You break the jinx. At least you are an acharya for those who are thinking we are not qualified. The class of yesterday, the Maharaj was saying, that Prabhupada made him give class even when he was just young. So that it is in trying to follow that will become empowered. So we thank you very much for raising up and coming forward and giving the class. Since there is no more questions, we will request all the devotees to unmute themselves. We request all devotees to unmute themselves and chant a very powerful Hare Krishna Mahamantra to appreciate Prabhupada's efforts.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhudhyaya Vacha, Patitanam Pavanambayo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Utpalla Prabhu ki jai ho. Thank you very much.
Utpalla Prabhu ki.
Okay. Prabhu ki. Acharya was there. You can come and remove it. No. I'm trying to.